Hey y'all, Queen Tajay here. So today I will be doing a fire inspired ombre acrylic full set. I've already removed the shine from my natural nail plate and did my cuticle work and applied my tips. Next I'm using the nail form to cut exactly where I want my nails to end. Normally when working with a nail form you go a little longer than you want because you want to have that wiggle room to file, but I'm working with stilettos and I know that I'm not going to have to file too much. Also, when it's time for me to shape with my scissors, like just cutting the stiletto shape out a little bit, I don't necessarily cut exactly into a stiletto shape because I have a problem with cutting too much on one side and then my nails become crooked on myself. So with myself, I just cut off a little bit of that tip and then I file as much as I can to make that stiletto shape straight. And of course it works out for me. Again, when I'm working on myself, it just, for some reason, I always cut one side too much. So that's what I'm doing here. Of course, after this, I'm going to blend my tip. I'm going to apply my dehydrator and my primer and my clear acrylic. And right here, I'm going to use my old zebra file to blend my tips. As you see, I just opened up a new one. That is going to be for later when I lay the acrylic, and that one is too harsh for my natural nails. So I'm going to use this one to blend my tips and then get started. Once I'm done with my prep, I'm going to go in with this beautiful orange color. It is called Sony Lake. And again, this is from her Fire and Icicles collection. And I'm just going to apply very thin layers of this color. And, you know, just let that acrylic slide out so it can be as smooth as possible. Making sure nothing is up under the nail so that, you know, it won't irritate me and my skin or affect my shaping. I really love this color. I really feel like this collection was for me. I don't know. I really feel like this is one of my best sets. But anyways, when applying for ombre nails, make sure that the first color you lay is thin. If it is thick, that means you're just going to have to apply a lot of that second color, which isn't too big of a deal. But my second color is going to be a red, as you can tell from the thumbnail, and that red can overpower this orange. So you want to make sure that you apply this orange as perfect as possible, literally as perfect as possible, making sure you don't have a very harsh line. So when you do apply that red, you can't see that orange, and it just, it's an even blend. You want an even blend. You don't want it to be too tough around the edges. And you will see once I start with that pinky nail, I will, well, you'll see. But yeah, I'm just going to apply orange to all of these nails, get that out of the way, make sure I close that, and then go in with my next color. My uncle made me laugh, so right here you're just going to see me pick up a bead and then fumble it because he was just joking out around way too much. But that's okay. I just wanted to show you all acrylic to powder ratio and how I was picking up my bead. So now that my orange color is dried, I'm going to go in with this color called Lake Fire. And as you could tell, I picked up a too big bead. Like, I wanted it, honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I wanted the colors to be even. Normally I like more of the color that I like most, but in this one it just didn't look right with most of that red. So I wanted it to be even, so as you can see, I went back in with some of that orange and evened it out. And then for my ring fingernail, because I made that mistake with the pinky fingernail, I made sure to pick up smaller beads to blend. So as you can see, and as always, I laid that bead down, pat, pat, pat to each side, make sure I cover everything, and then I slide it down. And then once I come back, or if I notice right then and there, I will add more of that orange color, which is Sony Lake. See right here, I figured it was too much red for me, so I added some of that orange. But if I was covering the whole nail, it would be almost impossible to come back from that because of the colors I'm working with. So again, I'm using a smaller bead for the middle fingernail, pat, pat, pat to each side, and then dragging it down into the next color. And then I'm going to pick up another smaller bead and do the exact same thing. You do not want to continuously wash out your colors unless you want it like that, because sometimes I do want more of a certain color than, I like. The color I like the most is the one I like to see the most. However, for this set, I wanted it to be mostly even. So enough of that orange for you to see and enough of that red you can see. I think I did a great job. I'm going to go in with my Ultra Clear by Seatones as well and just encapsulate all of my nails. Because I'm working with ombre, I'm very careful with this because if you don't encapsulate, sometimes you can rub off some of that color. So, and you know, I use very thin coats so that I can save my my colored acrylic. That way I can stretch it out. But I'm just going to encapsulate with clear acrylic and then go on to the next step. As you can see here, I'm rubbing my nails with monomer before I apply my clear acrylic. That's because I do not want any bubbles or any ashy spots up under my clear acrylic. So I decided to brush my nail with that monomer and then encapsulate with that ultra clear. So I'm done encapsulating. I'm going to go in and use my medium sanding bit and file the top of my nails and smoothing it out. This is just cutting down on time instead of using my hand file. So it's the same thing with using a hand file, is just cutting down. That's it. So it's not really necessary, and I just wanted to try it out. But it works really good. So I'm going to do that for all 5 nails and then go back and go in with my hand zebra file. You will see me actually go in with the one that's in the background and use that for the top of my nails and then switch to a different one for the sides. That's because this is the same file that I've been using for my last 2 sets on myself. So I'll wait until it just dull all the way out. But right now it's not leaving bad scratches on top of my nails. So it left some scratches, so that means it's still coarse, but it didn't leave really bad ones. So I'm going to use that on the top of my nail and then switch out to another one and perfect my shaping. And of course I'm going to go in with my comb bit and clean around my cuticles. And for once, you all will see me use a buffer. That is because I was filing a little too hard and my scratches were too deep. So if you apply some gel top coat over those scratches, they will look ashy underneath that top coat. So that is why I went in with the buffer. And then once I went in with that buffer, I then went in with some alcohol and clean the top of my nail so I can get rid of all of that dust. And then next will be my top coat. So when applying any gel polish, you want to make sure you angle your nails downward and you put just enough on that brush to cover that nail. So this brush isn't too wet and it's not too dry. And then I'll just polish my nails. So you'll see I don't exactly touch my cuticle area, but I get really close and then drag side to side and then downward. That's what helps me not flood my cuticles or my client's cuticles, because that can also cause lifting. After curing that non-wipe gel top coat for 30 seconds, I'm then going to go in and do my 3D acrylic flower. I played around with my colors because I wasn't sure how I wanted my flower, but I knew I didn't want it just one color. So this is my first time doing a multicolored acrylic 3D flower. So you put the bead down, you make a C, and then you flatten it out. And then you go on to the next petal. I was blowing on it as I was laying my acrylic because I didn't add acetone to my monomer. If you add acetone to your monomer, it helps set your acrylic beads faster, but because I'm not as perfect with these flowers, I decided not to add it. So once you lay down your bead and you have the shape that you want, make sure it's dry before you go on to the next bead. You do not want it wet because it'll ruin it. And right here I'm just having trouble. That bead was too dry. Then I was like, maybe I should put a red petal, you know, because I want it multicolored. And as you can see right here, I'm going to do a nice petal, but I didn't like how it looked with that background. So again, for this flower, I was just having fun. And I wanted it to be different, but it came out pretty good once I, you know, changed a few petals like 50 billion times. So now that I'm done making the first layer, I decided to make a second layer so that the flower stood up a little bit. So that's what you see me doing with this yellow petal. I wanted more depth to it. I didn't want it too flat. If you do a really flat flower, that's fine, but that's not the look I was going for. And plus, when I do really flat flowers, I like to encapsulate them. So if it's 3D, I want it to actually be 3D. So that's what I was doing right here and there. Just making a second layer, going in with that yellow, going in with that orange, and making sure it all tied in together. For the leaf, I did a yellow leaf. It's just the same thing, but I used the X-Acto knife to make lines in that acrylic so that you knew that it was a leaf. And then I was going to add an orange one, but it just looked out of place, so I ended up scrubbing that off and just keeping the flower that you see in the thumbnail. So thank you, kings and queens, for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Click on that notification bell so you know when I post, and I will see y'all later. Bye.